Live.
Hello, everyone. Good evening on the East Coast, or wherever, as we always say. Welcome to Doors and Deities, presented by Table Quests. As always, if you like what you see here, be sure to check us out on our various social media pages. We keep moving things around in like Twitch description and things like that. Find us there. We can put stuff in the chat for links to the Discord. That's honestly probably the best place to find us, because that's where we all are. So check us out there and come hang out. If you really like what you see, you can throw us a subscription. It's what's the September thing, right? Basically
September.
free money.
September.
September.
Subscribe in
What
September.
did I say?
You said the September thing.
Sure. September, which I think is like 30% off Twitch subscriptions or
Yeah,
something. You also have a free
30%
one
off
through it
on
if
new
you have,
subs.
yes, if you have Amazon Prime, you have a free Twitch subscription. So if you aren't using that and you want to kick that our way, it'd be very much appreciated. Ba, 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 ba. Special thanks as always to Syrinscape for the use of their audio library for all the music you're hearing now, as well as any other noises that aren't our lovely voices. Either of my dogs, the motorcycles, which I don't think we've heard in a while, any McDonald's deliveries being thrown onto people's
You say that every.
desks.
Are they going to start paying us? Like, because you keep mentioning them at the beginning of every stream.
Well, no, it's not a positive
Sponsors.
thing.
Hey.
It's not really a positive. It'd be weird for them to sponsor that. And any wheezing you might hear from my end, that's just because my lungs have decided to kill me today. So if you see that happening, deceased in chat, please. Any other shout outs, corrections? Oh, right, of course. As well as here on Wednesdays at 7:30, the D&D live stream on Wednesday nights. Don't go checking. We also stream Call of Cthulhu 7th edition over on here on Tuesdays at around 7. You can see me and Kendra over there. We just did the wrap up to our first big arc. You can go check that out. Watch the rest of those on YouTube. Catch up, and then watch me and Ben not die, shockingly, and then see where we head forward
Spoiler
from
alert.
there. Oh yeah, I guess. Whoops. Spoiler alert. I'm a very inconsiderate person, so it is what it is.
And I derailed it.
Now I think that's everything, right? Does anyone else have any shout outs, corrections, questions?
Curse of
Statements?
Strahd game should be starting 3 Sundays. So 2 Sundays from this coming Sunday. Hopefully, will be our first session.
Yeah, so be sure to
Still
check that
searching
out as
for
well.
female DMs. If you're out there, please reach out. I'm desperate. Okay.
My dog's trying to play tug of war behind me, so.
That's the kind of news that we're looking for here. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say about their dogs? Or other animals?
How's your lizard, Drew?
She's staring at me judgmentally right now. Doesn't like that I'm making noise, I guess.
Sounds about right.
As she normally does. Any cue? I think that's everything. And we can jump into the story. Last week. Oh, where did we leave off last week? That's right. You guys had just gotten the Feywild for the second time for some of you. And making plans to head over to where Corboranthe had half materialized in the Feywild, in the Unseelie territory, which Rim and Ren were loath to enter. Before they could set off, they had to defeat the 2 young red dragons who had fully materialized into the Feywild, possibly replacing the Moonstone Dragon who normally defends that town. After not turning into a watermelon, creating an illusion of a watermelon, and killing the dragons in whatever order, you did indeed head out before camping after a time in the Feywild. Obviously, the sun does not set. And rather interesting things happened. Amnail had a possibly prophetic dream. And then after waking up, or at the end of Deziel's shift as at watch, he was visited by a specter of Denier, who spoke with him for a short time before leaving. Amnail, disturbed by his vision, kind of wandered off into the woods a little bit, and then Tempest shortly followed when everyone woke up. As we left off, Amnail, you were standing on the very edge of the poppy fields, exiting the forest. You heard Tempest's voice calling your name from behind you, and the shadowy city of Cormorant in the distance. You hear Tempest call your name again.
Amnail. Amnail. I'm now throwing my voice in like spooky tones. Amnail. I'm coming for you.
Thaumaturgy.
Yeah, Tempest. As you
I hear you now. Thaumaturgy is the calling card.
as you walk out, kind of calling in the direction he went, you hear him respond back with your name.
Tempest.
Amnail.
I'm over here.
Where's here? I'm gonna walk and think really hard about the place where Amnail is.
Place where Amnail is. Okay. Lovely. As you wander through, following his voice, and it kind of echoes off the trees. And was it that way? Was it this way? The trees around you grow tighter, the brush thicker, and you find yourself on a footpath. It was kind of spit out into a labyrinthine maze of trees.
Amnail.
You hear his voice back very quietly, sounding farther away.
I said the place where Amnail is, not was, or will be. Come on, guys. This isn't funny.
Yep. You continue to hear Tempest calling for you. She starts to sound distressed.
Do I have any indication of where she might be? Have I at any point seen her?
You have not seen her. The
You're
voice
still
is
dreaming.
coming. What's that?
I said, you're still dreaming. She's not real.
And then she draws out a sword and she cuts a rift in reality. Yeah.
No, one of her 11 daggers.
All 11 daggers.
She's really been working for the Volser this whole time.
I will call out, Tempest, where are you?
If I knew that, we wouldn't have a problem.
I wanted to walk a few steps and this place drew me out. I hate this.
I'm blaming you for this.
I'm blaming myself too. Let's
At
go
least we
back
can
to where
agree
we
on
made
that.
camp.
The place where we made camp. But, like, what if it takes us to a place we made camp last time we were here? Ah!
I'm just gonna start thinking tempest, 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 and I'm gonna walk into the woods.
You wake up in a tornado.
The Wizard of Oz. Tornado rolls by.
Column of black smoke. All right. You head off into the woods, thinking of tempest. You walk deeper into the woods. Although the trees get thinner and thinner, the ground is still now entirely littered with poppies. Make a perception check.
I knew I forgot something. I don't have Roll20 open.
Aha!
Yeah,
Found your problem.
I had to.
In the meantime,
I had to refresh.
You better.
Roll20.
Gotcha. That's strange.
I was like, I have too much space.
In the meantime, Kat, I'm gonna need you to make an intelligence check as you. Well, okay. Sorry, I should say. Are you going to try to move through the maze, or no? I should not presume.
It's Tempest. You can presume. She's gonna try and move through the maze.
Perception.
So make me an intelligence check. And then what do I add to that for perception, Emnail?
9.
A 26.
26. Okay, yes. To your right, you see a flash of movement. You look over and you see poppies still swaying from where something moved by them. Off to the right. Tempest, you wander through. You think, I'm gonna hug to the left side. Stay to the left wall. You go around through a few corners and find yourself right back where you were, going the other way.
Oh, I've read this book. Where am I? Amnael! Desiel's gonna kill me when I get myself killed.
You hear her voice coming from the same direction. Off where you saw the movement. You are muted. Or something. You're going after it? Awesome.
Sorry to interrupt. We did have a long rest after fighting the dragons, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
All good. You head after the noise and after the sight. You step out into a clearing. The ground is... Well, you can't see the ground. It is covered in white flowers with purple centers. There is a stone kind of construction towards the center. It looks like a ring. It is raised up a few feet. So you cannot see in the middle. Tempest. You don't?
So I came from the way that I went. So now am I facing out of the maze or back in the maze?
The way you stumbled in, you kind of came from like at a perpendicular to this path. You kind of stumbled through, and then as you come back around, that is just flat, thorny bush.
Okay. this is the Feywild. Directions don't matter. Intention matters. And I'm gonna pick, I don't know, the path that I haven't just come from, whatever direction that's in. And I'm gonna think really hard about getting to where Amnail is. And I'm gonna minor illusion just like a little X on the ground, or like an arrow pointing in the direction I'm going. So for 1 minute, if I come back, I know which way I went.
Okay.
Yeah, because that worked really well when I tried
That worked real well for Amnail last time, but intelligence check, please.
14? We're improving slowly.
So Amnail, you're in the clearing. The rocks are in front of you.
Just like a wall of rock.
It's kind of circular. You can't quite see over into what's in the center. It's about 30 feet away from you. The wall rises maybe 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. You hear Tempest's voice echo from somewhere beneath, as if in a cave.
So not in the rock, or from the direction of the rock tunnel.
In that direction, yes. So it kind of echoes out from there, I should say.
How long has it been since I heard her voice the first time? Like a minute or like 5 minutes?
Like a little over like 2 minutes.
Shit. Desiel's probably worried. Oh, but I can't leave here without her. God damn it. Okay. I'm gonna pray to Kalimvor and go in.
Oh? Okay.
Thinking
You
of
step up
like
to the rocks.
Tempest.
Mm-hmm. You step up to the rocks and see indeed that it tilts downward and opens up into a dark well. You hop in, and your feet touch flowers and earth as you stand in the center of a rock circle. You see the flowers again drift in some wind that doesn't seem to hit you. Flowers drifting away and swirling into an indistinct form. Tempest. You hear Amnail's voice calling your name from somewhere what is now to your right. As the path in front of you splits into two.
I'm gonna follow that direction. I'm assuming he's just like calling my name or something.
Yep, that's what you hear.
Okay. I guess I'll go in that direction, continuing to think really hard about Amnail. I've got like my hat to my ear, trying to hear better.
Just check something real quick. All right.
Yes, 10d10 damage. Mm-hmm.
Make me one more intelligence check.
$10, but I think I might re-roll it. I don't know. Something about it being the last check I don't like.
Is she intelligent enough to re-roll her intelligence check?
That's a good question.
I feel like like rolling above a 10 is good. Oh no,
Good.
that was worse.
Oh.
I think I have to use
You
a
have
new
to
one
keep the
too.
new roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
First Lyra, now Tempest. Yep,
Alright.
that sounds about
Isn't
right.
isn't that ability called something to do with the gods loving you or something like that?
No, that's not
Oh.
favored
No,
by the gods.
no,
Okay.
you're
This is
thinking
magical.
that's for attacks and saving throws. This is just ability checks. This one is magical guidance.
Yeah.
So really, magic doesn't love me, which checks out.
It checks out.
You go right. You continue along, and his voice again fainter, but now calm. All worry gone from his voice. Amnael, you see in this rush of flowers. Oh, excuse me, my door opened.
Too much foolishness. The DM gives up. He's like, nope, I can't deal with this.
Excuse me. This kind of whirl of flower petals. In it, you kind of see almost like an optical illusion, a humanoid form. You unmistakably see long, wavy hair, a glimmer of some blue jewel, almost forming a necklace, and long, scaly something kind of draped over the shoulders. And the figure seems to giggle, although no sound is produced. Make a charisma saving throw.
Yes, my favorite.
Okay.
I'm proficient in them too.
Desiel's gonna kill us.
Tempest.
What?
You continue to walk, becoming, more and more nervous as the sky seems to darken, the trees get closer and closer together, and then you round a corner, and there's Amnael.
Oh my
Standing in a
god!
field of poppy flowers.
What the heck are you doing over there? I just walked through the creepiest maze!
Amnael, you have your memory is that you heard her voice from the edge of the field. You turned around and walked pretty much directly to her voice into this clearing, and there she was.
Wait, what? Let's get out of here. Are you okay? Are you well?
I mean, I feel fine, but I'm emotionally traumatized by mazes now. I went one way and then I was going the other way. It was dark. Were you standing here the whole time?
No, I was looking for you and I came across this weird place. I jumped into a well. Why did you jump into a well?
I don't remember that part. I think I would have remembered if I, like, jumped in. I was just walking, and then everything turned into a maze, so I kept walking. And then I walked in another direction.
I look around. What do I see around me? Besides, like, Tempest and the flowers.
Basically it. You're in kind of a more open forest. You can see the purple tinged sky, birch trees kind of scattered around you, white flowers. And then the
Does
clearing you're
anything
standing.
Let's get
and the
out of
clearing
here.
you're-
anything familiar?
Is anything familiar? Not particularly.
Oh, how do we get back?
And the scaly thing?
What's that?
The person with the jewels and the scales?
What about him?
Ah, cool.
You do not
So-
recall that, as a matter of fact. You do not remember that having occurred.
Huh? Okay. Huh? What? Well, Tempest, we should probably get the hell out of here. They're probably worried about us. I mean, lords know how long we've been dallying around in this place.
Can we maybe not tell Desiel that we just wandered off into the forest and then just kept going into the forest and then into the maze and almost got ourselves lost forever into the abyss? Because I just had this whole conversation with him about like people being stupid and getting themselves killed, and the irony is not being missed for once.
Fair enough. I won't tell if you won't.
Oh, I won't tell. I have self-preservation instincts sometimes, occasionally.
Well, to be fair, I didn't want, again, I didn't want to just wander off a lot, but this place is quite strange in that way.
I mean, how are we gonna get back? What are we
Shall
thinking? We gotta decide what we're thinking. If we think different things, we're never gonna get anywhere.
I mean, we could try to go back to where we set up camp. We could...
Where we set up camp.
Where we slept.
Most recently. Where we most
Yes.
recently slept.
I mean,
And that
it
Desiel
has
is in.
to work.
The place where we set up camp and most recently slept and where Desiel is in. Surely we can't get any more specific than that.
And let's go. Just grab my arm.
Alright, I'll link
That's
arms with them
not-
now.
Yeah. Which probably looks really funny, but that's besides the point.
So, yeah, you guys think really hard, stride forward with purpose, and not too long later, Desiel, as you guys, as the rest of you in camp, gather your things, kick out the fire, and prepare to at some point head out. You hear the crunching of 2 footsteps, and Tempest and Amniel walk out from the trees.
I found him!
You found who?
Now. Look at this. I did such a wonderful job. Here he is.
Where did you go?
Where'd we go?
Yeah, where'd you go?
I was trying to walk. A bit, and I forgot that this place is a mess, and so I wound up way farther than I expected. But I actually think I found our destination.
Okay then. How's it look? There's like
Flowery
putting components
and
and
weird.
things away. Flowery, like poppies.
Yes, and quite strange.
Stones.
It seemed like less stones, more like towers and castles and buildings, all covered up in wildlife. It's quite a strange sight to behold, if I'm being honest.
So it's just through these trees right here. Like we're right there.
Less that, more than I guess that whole you walk and you get to the place thingy.
It can't be just through the trees because I didn't see it. I think. I didn't see it,
Did you
did
see
I?
the city?
I think so. I mean, not sure.
Miss Winter, does this land have you been there? With the poppy fields and the unbirthed stones and the, well, obviously not the city, but the other places.
Have I, Drew?
Oh. We are in unseelie lands, and you have not tread anywhere near that. Well, we aren't now, but that stuff is all.
No. I haven't been there. But it sounds like we're on our way.
Yes, apparently so. Okay, everybody prepare. Nell, did you have time to do your prayers and things before you went for a walk?
Morning breakdown? Yes, I had the chance. It's kind of annoying that I'm having to schedule my psychic breakdowns by time of day now, but I guess it.
Oh no, we're
Did
in the
its job.
Feywild. There is no time of day. You just have them whenever you want. But what is this you had a breakdown?
Just what we discussed previously, trying to digest it. Anyways, not important. Well, actually, very important, but not relevant. Shall we get going?
I took shit notes last time. Did you talk to Desiel about your dreams before you went off? Okay. I didn't even take notes that we killed 2 young red dragons, so I think I deleted or lost all of last session's notes. Okay, but you're feeling better then? Yes? No?
Yes, I suppose.
I mean, I had a conversation with Denier. Maybe. Perhaps.
What now?
Nothing. Oh, I should tell you what happened at the ring. Never mind. We should go.
I hate when you have to tell stories like this.
No, shit happened at
well,
the ancient dock. I'll tell you about it. But we should get up and leave.
yeah, we should. Yeah. The one thing is, do we have food? Because I literally finished my last thing of food source yesterday, so I need some stuff if anyone has it.
Yeah, I mean, we got dragon bacon, no? Yeah.
I think I'm a vegetarian now.
No, dragon bacon. That's from the dragons. We got steaks, we got bacons, we got.
I mean, if you want to be a vegetarian, I think there was some dandelions around somewhere.
Just don't go vegan. You're already moody enough.
I could eat the poppy flowers.
That could improve your disposition.
Yeah, no. I think I'll manage with some nuts and seeds that we might have. No, I'll try the dragon bacon later. Yeah, let's go, I
What
guess.
did you have against eating dragon? Okay.
I don't know. It's a bit beyond my diet.
Okay.
I have a little bit here, if you would like.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Miss Winter? Winter?
Winter.
Winter. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
I mean, we could sit
It's
down
a-
here and have story time and make a breakfast and eat for like 5 minutes. I mean, you just went and had a nervous breakdown. Let's relax, no? Everybody? Do you want to relax? Like, take 30 minutes and relax and, have some breakfast?
Are
Or
we
the-
technically in Unseelie lands where we sit right now?
I don't know.
Winter,
I mean,
do you happen
Ren
to
and
know?
Lim said they'd only come with us as far as like the edge. So I guess when they stopped coming with us, we were in the Sunset Lands.
Joe, we were
Does it appear like
Sure. Looking at the sky, you see that it is a comforting, familiar orange, and not the purple of the Unseelie. You are relatively safe.
we are in a relatively safe location? Not quite to the lands of the Unseelie just yet.
Okay, so if we have things to do to get ready and eat and be strong and stuff, we should do it now. Okay, take 5. Right? No? Or we can leave. Anybody want to leave? Nobody is speaking.
I have no inclination one way or the other.
I mean, you guys are the ones who always like have to prep stuff in the morning. I just kind of wake up and I'm like, okay, new day.
I am prepared. I am still digesting events of this morning. Yeah, so we should eat. We should not digest these things on an empty stomach. Let's eat. Drew, is there stuff that could burn, like with a fire?
Oh yeah, you're in a forest.
Okay.
Easily gather a decent amount of wood.
Okay, so let's get some stuff together and perhaps talk about what our plan is, no? What we're going to do. You can tell us about whatever's... How's your feeling? I got stories I can tell, and we can decide what we're going to do when we get to the crazy city that you just saw near the poppy fields.
Fair enough.
No? We figure out the plan. Yes?
Yeah, I'll help set up a little fire so that we can cook whatever foods we might have.
Firebolt, make a little...
yeah.
Burn this stuff, pull some dragon out of the airless container. Or even...
Also, I have a little more to hand out. Walt, she gave you a day's rations.
Thank you. How very nice of you. Yeah, while we're setting up camp, I will... Fuck it. I will divulge my experience last night to the group, including Alexia and Winter. The being there, purple robes, the weird stone gray, well, not stone, but like gray dragon face, the person with the sword getting stabbed in the chest, all that good stuff.
And he called you Kellamvor? Like, you weren't you, but your god or something?
Uh-huh. Not in a you are Kellamvor type thing, but I think that was a way for me to have seen and experienced that the Umbra Lord had at some
Projection.
point. A memory.
But you've talked to your god more recently than Lyra's talked to the Raven Queen, right?
I mean, any time in the past few days would count. One assumes. I mean, she could be dining with the Raven Queen right now.
Yes, I think the last direct contact I've had No, it was even before Lyra died. Before Pep disappeared. Before. Yes, Miss Alexia?
You believe this dream is from your god? What
I
if it's
mean, what
from
else?
the dragon you spoke of? What if he put that into your mind?
That is not an unreasonable thought, and I will be honest, it had not occurred to me. But to what end?
Well, sounds like to scare you. Maybe.
There's nothing to say it has to have already happened. Maybe it could happen.
Oh, yes, great. My god isn't dead. He's going to be dead. That's.
Well, if it hasn't happened yet, maybe we can try and stop it. Was my theory, Mr. Negative.
We couldn't stop our friends from dying. We definitely can't stop a god from dying.
Hey, there was no way about it, okay? I was in the library at the time. Maybe when we're all together, the power of friendship will truly prevail.
Yes, we'll all cast that ritual spell, conjure windows. We definitely need a bit of a plan of action. So once we get to Corbranth, are we booking it for Nestor? Are we trying to find out if he's still here? Like, what's our plan?
I mean, we should probably make sure that the guy threatening to murder gods and stuff isn't just wandering around the city here.
Well, whether he's wandering around or not, I have prepared for the day the ability to locate an object. So, if we wish to find this individual, we could find him. If we wish to avoid the individual, hey, same spell.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Guess
I exist.
Guess we do think alike.
I mean, I'm assuming we want to find Nesta first, right? Like, that's our priority.
Probably.
I imagine, we find Nestor, make sure he's going to do these things, and make sure we don't need to do anything else. And he will likely yell at us some more about whatever the crazy archmage is doing anyway. So, kind of killed two birds with one stone, no?
We are so close to the city. Would it be wise to maybe contact Nestor if we can to let him know that we're close so he can maybe even meet us at the border to offer us safe passage into the city?
Japanese, they said the city wasn't like fully here, didn't they? It was kind of like half-faced.
Well, maybe we should know which side he's currently on.
True. I feel like he would know if the sky suddenly was in perpetual sunset.
Yeah, hope so.
I think we really need to start thinking of plans that don't require for me to waste one of my most difficult abilities every day at
Yeah, we don't.
9 p.m. 9 a.m.
I mean, first we try to find him. We get to the city, we try to find him. And if we cannot, then we'll see what happens. But it should not be too difficult. I mean, we were able to find things and people before you had your messaging, your more powerful ability to message.
Fair. DM, do I recall any sort of unique jewelry or like clothing wise that Nestor had that would seem like unique enough that where I try to locate him, I could like try to ping it to? Because I generally remember what he looked like, but I don't remember any specific things.
Remember his rather unique and personalized lute that he wore on his back.
Cool. Thank you. I mean, we could look for that instrument of his. That thing was quite ornate. I don't think there are many of those around. It's still a slot, but it's less than messaging him.
Just, I mean, he was, when he was running the circus, he had very ostentatious clothing, no? I mean, between the instrument and everything else, he was wearing something's gotta be locatable.
Fair enough.
So what if he's not on the Feywild side of the city? What if he's in the other part of the city? How do we get to the other part of the city? Oh,
Maybe we
We
wait for the other
probably
part of the
would-
city to come to us.
okay.
Or we can try to get back with Ren. I mean, it was our original plan.
Or we could just think about going to the other part of the city and look for a little cupboard to crawl through or something. I don't know.
Yeah, let's just try it when we get there. No harm in.
I mean, Tempest could make a
Probably no
sign,
harm in trying.
right? Tempest, you make a sign with a little arrow. You say Nestor this way, and we just go.
Oh,
through.
that's a good idea.
There
Would
we go.
it should we think of Nestor if we're looking for him, or we need to get to the city first? Then remember, we need to think about something, otherwise we'll be lost in the Feywild.
We should try to get to the city. I don't want to show up in the middle of whatever craziness he may be doing with the council of.
And if he's not here, then it may not take us anywhere.
Ja.
We could end up lost anyway.
So we go to the city and we try and find things out. And on the way we learn whatever with the trees, no?
Yes.
Yes. So there we go. We go to the city. We learn about the trees. I mean, this winter has helped us, so we help her on our way to help our friend. Okay, so by the way, as I try and cook some bacon over the fire. All right, so a thing happened. Do you know, remember perhaps how you could not find me because I went to the ancient dock, no? You remember this?
Is that where you were?
Oh, yes.
Is that
Yeah.
where-
Okay. So, yes, I went to the ancient dock with Lyra's friend. And the idea was to meet the third hand peoples, no? And apparently, some people who work for the Archmage and the college and the city who don't like the underbelly of society, they had infiltrated the meeting and they created a big problem because they were discovered and they started attacking people. And it turned into a big shit show. I never met the third hand people. And Lyra's friend died. So, Ermos. So, and a Dragonborn. It was basically like I asked him if, well. So these Dragonborn decided to fight the two wizards that attacked. They were like attacking everybody. It was crazy. And Ermos and I was like, we stay, we fight, we leave. And Ermos is like, fuck it. And he just like went in. So I couldn't abandon him. And so we tried fighting. And we did okay. But he did not make it. I almost did not make it. But, so that's a thing. Perhaps when Lyra comes back, just like don't talk about Ermos for a little while. Like she probably has other things on her mind. She's not going to wake up and be like, hey guys, thanks for saving me. Where the fuck is Ermos, right? I mean, he's like in another place. So let's let her reaccustomed to being alive. We figure out what's going on with her, where she's been when she was dead. Figure out what's going on with us. And there's, maybe don't talk about Ermos until it's a good time to say, hey, this
Until
happened.
ever.
I mean, perhaps. I'm not saying that, but
Okay.
Okay, Tempest, you're making funny
So,
faces.
Miss
What
Winter.
is with the funny
Winter.
faces?
Okay, Tempest.
I'm just saying, like, there was this whole thing about how Lyra went off and got herself killed and we didn't know, and then I just find it a little ironic that Lyra's friend then went off and got killed and now Lyra doesn't know. And I mean, I agree that, like, we probably shouldn't be like, good morning, your friend's dead, but we're here now, so it's fine. You can replace him easily enough. But, I mean, like, when are we gonna tell her? I feel like this is an important thing she needs to know.
Okay, so perhaps, but it's my story to tell, no? So when it seems like a good time to tell, maybe at most, give me a nudge, but don't like tell her yourself because it's my story to tell. Don't just blurt it out.
That's fair.
That's
I'm not
fair,
going
okay.
to. I'm just saying, like, when should the nudge come? Like, are we saying, like, we'll give her a week or like a 3 weeks?
No.
Or are you saying,
I
like,
think it would
eventually
be.
when the guilt is so overwhelming, I just have to blurt it out at some point 3 years down the line and it completely fractures the friendship group that we forged over
No,
all
I
these
think
years?
I think the best time to tell her is the next time she decides that it's a good idea to go off and do something stupid. I'll just say, "Hey, your fucking friend Ermos did the same thing, and now he's dead too."
No, no, no.
No,
Why?
is this no good? Okay,
Traumatized
No.
friends, Danielle.
I made you teach lessons.
Intentionally.
No,
Have you ever interacted with real human beings before?
yeah, I mean you're real. No, like I think it'll be clear and obvious when it's a good time to tell her. I'm just saying, don't bring it up at the beginning. At some point, we fill her
That's
in.
fair. I think a criteria should be 1, she's alive, obviously, and 2, she's safe, and we're all safe. That might take a few days. That might take at max a few weeks. But yes, she should know. I don't know. I think Hermos was basically her family. She should know.
Yeah.
I mean, did he say anything? Did he have anything for her, or was it just kind of like a sudden like?
No, he. I actually had given him her friendship bracelet, the one that she gave me, just out of respect for him and his relationship with her. But then, I mean, when he died, I took it back. No, but I mean, he didn't need it anymore.
Do you reckon you could maybe like? Is there any way you could reach out to him, like when she eventually learns, like just give her some closure or something? Like, hey, your friend's dead. Say some closing words.
I did not
If
cut
we
his head
find
off.
his body,
Like, is that a thing? Next time one of her friends dies, I should cut his head off and stick it in the bag? Because this is.
Do you need to cut the head off?
no.
Don't
Why?
you? Don't you need to
What?
Don't you have to have part of them to speak to? Like at least the head.
Yes, but it can be the whole of them. We don't need to dismember them.
Okay. I just the head.
Winter, I'm so sorry if this is your first introduction to our plane of people. Normally we don't discuss chopping off people's heads and revivifying or speaking to them and whatever weird magic to get final words from said dead friend. So please don't let this experience.
It's been a rough few weeks, you know.
And to be fair, I'm not from the prime material plane, so
You see a dandelion slowly disappearing into her mouth. Yes, you're all very strange. Yes, you're strange. But, clearly you care, about your friend. So much so that you would distress so deeply over relaying this news.
She gets us.
But it is very strange.
I mean, this is new territory for. Well, This is yeah, it's new territory for me to lose a friend and maybe be able to do something about it, and to have people that can then talk to friends of friends who have died. I mean, this is, you know, this is different.
Oh, you've never done this before. Carried the remains of a loved one to maybe, hopefully, return them to some semblance of their former selves.
No, I have lost people very close to me before. In that case, it was because they listened to me, not because they refused to listen to me. And at that point, I could not do anything about it. This is different. I don't know. The friends I am with now can maybe do something about it.
You all must have been together for many
Days. Yeah.
events.
Yes. We have been through many events together.
We really need someone to like
Ironically-
write a book about us or something. Very exciting life.
Well, that's sad because our main writer is unfortunately not with us here now. But yeah, partly why I think we care so much is because I can definitely say for 3 of us, maybe for 4 of us, this is the first time we actually had something good going.
Which 4
Well,
of
at
us
least
are we talking
one.
about? There's only 4 of us left. There's really only 3 of us left.
Yeah, I'm just
Temporarily.
here to help the professor and like learn some cool stuff along the way. So
At
I
one
mean,
point,
so
we were
actually-
more than 4. I know we tried to compartmentalize, but we were more than 4 at one point.
Joe, we were like a good 4.5,
But-
probably.
I think we should get going before I commit any more blasphemy and I get smited down by my deity.
Just, we don't want
Speaking
you smitten.
ill of the dead, ill of the dead is like right up there with wearing hats in terms of things that
Do
will
all
get you struck
gods
down.
have like, don't do this or I'll smite you? Like, Daenerys is like, if you don't read a book a day, oh, smite.
No, the nearest like,
A book a day.
hey, did you
you're
know my
away?
name? I don't know my name anymore. Like the nearest. Whew. But,
Yeah, he did a lot of that with me too. A lot of wandering around. A lot of help me find me.
yeah. Oh, yeah, so I spoke with Daenerys this morning, by the way. I was trying to go.
Just casually throw that in there. Okay.
No. I was trying to do chronological, and we got stuck on what happened back at the Ancient Duck because that was earlier, and we didn't have time to talk about it. But this morning, while you were off having poppies, like poppies, like the flowers. Don't give me that look, Tempest. Daenerys came and visited a little bit. So yeah.
Did he say anything new, or was it like, found my name yet? No. Okay, bye. Did he threaten to smite you?
No, like we're good. Like
I just like side eye am now. Like,
he
seems like a yo god thing.
He barely knows who he is. I tried talking to him about other gods, and he's still having problems remembering. Drew, this thing about Daenerys once being called Plotech, he didn't say that, right? That's a thing that I knew somehow.
Oh, he said that.
Oh, he said that. He said he used to be called Plotek by a some strange sect of elves who insisted on calling gods by common household objects.
No wonder he lost his name. He was like, I don't want it anymore. Bye.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wonder if they call Jeff, they just call him Biscuit instead of Jeff, the god of biscuits. They just call him Biscuit, or like the Elven word for biscuit, which is hafu.
Does that name Plotek ring a bell to me?
Not in the slightest.
Did it mean anything to me? I speak Elvish. Yeah, we all do, except Tempest.
Yeah.
Really? I haven't noticed.
Flowtech is basically a saucepan.
So they think he's crazy like cookware. He's a saucy god. I don't know. They call him a saucepan because he's saucy. I don't. Anyway.
Yes, Winter. I share your confusion.
Okay. We were sitting around waiting. I think the bacon is done. Let's have some food and start going, no? I was just sharing what's
Nothing
been
else
happening.
interesting you remember from the conversation?
I think I lost
Your
like
notes are incomplete.
I think I lost like half of my notes. I didn't hit save, and when my computer shut down or something, I don't know. That's literally the only thing I have from that conversation.
Gotcha. I wondered why you were bringing that up specifically. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You remember he said that your names are very close.
Oh, my name.
Not in a
yes.
not in a lingual sense.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He was clear on that. And then at the end he said that piece of me you have should work a little better now. Those were the two, I think, big. I guess that's what I wrote down as the big takeaways from that conversation. So any information you'd like to pass on to anyone else to you, but
Do I have an idea what the piece of him is?
well, make an intelligence check.
Do I get to add Arcana?
Actually, yeah, I was about to say with Arcana, yeah. That would be exactly what this is.
17.
17. You remember the last time you tried to cast the spell Identify? I think it was the last time. It didn't quite work. It was back at the professor's house when you were identifying some of the items you got from the Grand Library.
And the bracelet.
One of which, or after rather, yes.
Yeah.
One of which was the silver chain bracelet, or gauntlet, that you got off of one of the students. It seemed it almost had a will that seemed to resist you, and that now in your mind stands out as the same kind of, or the kind of strands of light that Denier was manipulating during your conversation had the same shine to them as the gem in the center of that gauntlet.
Yeah, so apparently I think the thing that we pulled from the students, the gauntlet, that was helping with the magic anti-magic craziness that was happening, is perhaps a piece of Denier, and he said maybe it should work better, but I did not pull it out and look at it again. Actually, I have several things I need to spend some time with, but it was kind of a crazy morning. So
Do you maybe want to look at it now? I mean, if it's one of those magic-y things, that could be really useful for going into the city, you know?
yeah, I mean, if we
Should
got
the crazy magic user be there. Or any crazy magic user, really.
okay, yeah,
Myself not included.
take another 10 minutes or so. I should be able to do that.
And now, would
Yes.
would you tell me about your home?
Hmm, of course. Um, uh, I used to live in a place. Well, it's weird to talk about far away when things aren't really in the same place of existence. Um, I used to live in a city. It used to be at the base of a mountain. Um, Most people of my persuasion don't really tend to walk away from that place. It's quite a nice place, honestly. Everything's always clean and sparkly, shiny. Um, it goes by lots of different names. I know that where my friends came from, it's generally called as Celestia, but it has many, many different names. Um, it was nice. My house was relatively large, marble walls, pillars, few statues. We used to have a little dog that would just poof in and out of places. It was a nice place.
Drew, have I heard of some place called Celestia?
Yeah, you would have heard of the other planes, and of the celestial plane. Not so much in as positive a light, as he is, as what he is describing. Um, the tales you would have heard would be of old, emotionless creatures, with hearts set in stone, who lack the liveliness of your Fey home. A place of harsh, false light and still quietness that was to some entirely abhorrent.
And you left because
It wasn't necessarily of my own accord. Um, Although I did feel like it wasn't really the place for me anymore.
you do seem to have quite a bit of expression. It seems to me like you wouldn't have fit in there very well at all.
Yeah, I actually that is quite a keen observation. Um, that's not necessarily why I wasn't there anymore, but it's certainly another layer to that incompatibility. Yeah, my my colleagues, if you will, they used to be pretty well, not used. They tend to be pretty stoic people. Um,
How the
that kind
stories
of
go.
thing. Well, we're not all heartless and cold people. There are quite a lot of nice people in there. But when your whole society is built around one single organization, it does tend to fit most of you into a little mold, and you just have to be this and nothing else. And so outliers either have to fit in or they don't, and they either become unhappy or they just leave.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been nice talking about home and not resenting it for once.
What's the ground, Drew? Like dirt?
It's grass.
Lava.
Grass.
Grass with clover and dandelions. I'll give
I
you
keep
specific
seeing-
ratios if you'd like.
I keep
No, I
seeing
was
Winter eating dandelions, so I'm just gonna like. And then just a
I
second
mean-
later, all of the little seeds.
Yeah, it's pretty
come
bitter.
off.
It's pretty bitter.
They're a little bitter.
And a quiet taste.
Oh, certainly. Have any of you ever had a dandelion tea?
Mhm.
Pretty good. No, don't look at me like that. It's perfectly normal.
They're
Well-
very good. You don't like it?
It was more just like a shock to the palate, you know?
You didn't get a good one. I'll get you a good one.
Alright. I mean, I don't know what I'm looking for, so I'll throw the stem. You give me a good one and I'll try it. Don't knock anything till you try it twice.
She'll get up and start searching, like determined to find
Make
the
a
best
survive.
one.
Make a survival check. Well, Desiel, were you going to do
Yes.
some
There-
identifying?
There actually may be a couple of dandelions on the ground next to Desiel. As Desiel pulls out his wand and his string and instead of chalk, knife in order to draw the circles and whatnot that he does for identify for his ritual casting of it.
Meanwhile, Winter, you get very low to the ground, sniffing, looking, searching, and then you see it lit by a ray that comes from betwixt the trees, perfectly illuminating its golden bloom. Quite possibly the best dandelion you've ever seen.
She goes to, she goes and picks it, and she kind of walks back, and she hands it over to Tempest. This one looks very delicious. You should enjoy this one a great deal. She hands it over and watches expectantly.
I'm just kind of like eye it and then be like,
Rush of the same kind of bitterness. With a floral hint that you don't recall being there before.
ooh,
not-
it has layers.
It's not good, but you can kind of see where they're coming from with that.
Isn't
You know,
it-
you guys could kind of grow with me.
It would make a great tea. You figure.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm just gonna kind of keep mindlessly chewing on my flower. It's like I'm not necessarily like fully enjoying it, but I'm like enjoying the experience, you know.
That one's been lightly
Oh, you
salted.
don't like it?
Oh,
I
you can't
know.
really say don't eat the yellow dandelions, though. That doesn't quite work as well.
Why don't I have some of the dragon bacon?
Desiel just kind of waves as he continues doing his thing.
Yes, you spend some time gnawing on it. It's a lot tougher than the food you normally eat. Although it's a bit like a very tough smoked carrot.
What do we think?
It's very good.
I wonder if like we had like a dragon bacon with a side of like dandelion salad.
Oh,
Next meal, dinner.
yes, yes. What's he doing?
You know, I don't usually know. He just does things and we let it happen. He usually makes it work.
Yeah, you watch Diziel as he completes the ritual. You see him teasing threads, and initially he just plucks towards the air, but then after a few moments, you actually see a silvery blue thread pull along with his finger. Touch to the gauntlet, another. Running his hands, the air almost seems to flicker blue, like a fabric. He pulls around, and then he opens his eyes as you successfully cast Identify on the Blessing of the Knowing Divine that you can go ahead and add to your inventory. It should show up. I tested it earlier. It's a homebrew thing, but it showed up when I searched it from your character sheet. So it should work. Blessing of the Knowing Divine.
That's one of those names that like turns into ... at the end because it's too long.
Probably.
Allows
It looked cool when I did
you
it.
to cast Wish once per day.
Once per week. Come on. Okay, 1d4 times per week. Do you see it?
I did not. I just refresh my inventory.
Okay. It's not in your inventory yet.
No, manage inventory.
Oh, I see.
Filter.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
No.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Brooch of Living Essence.
No. Let me see if I can add it. If I can add it to your sheet, because it showed up when I searched it from there. This doesn't count as technical difficulties, by the way. This is procedural difficulty.
Did you hit share with community?
That does not.
I just checked. I can
It
see
should
it in
be
like the
available
equipment
anyway.
list if I.
You can
move
see it?
Yeah.
What?
It should just shift between the group.
Okay.
Do you have homebrew content enabled on your personal sheet, John?
Probably not, but let me go back.
Good question.
Homebrew content. Nope, I did not. Now I do.
Aha. Huzzah.
There you go.
And for those who'd like, just let me know in the
There it is.
Discord, and I will share the link to this item if you would like to use it in your campaign. Content.
There will eventually be a hat too at some point.
There will eventually be a Tempest hat with an LED screen that has clouds. That'll be like a special edition type thing. It is Blessing of the Knowing Divine.
Yep. Okay, I see it.
Okay. Alright, so as Diziel comes out from the ritual, successful in his efforts to tease apart the weave. Just that little bit.
My write-up for my ritual casting of Identify might take 10 minutes to read. So. No, it'd only take like 2 minutes, but
It'd only take 2 minutes.
It only take like 2 minutes. I don't know. It's like a page and a half. Yeah. Well, essentially, this protects you from from counter magics, no? So it's not so much that these were activating the house anti-magic properties as these were allowing the students to ignore the anti-magics of the house when we were fighting a sign.
Long story, Winter. We were at a house. The house had some sort of effect where magic didn't really work. Long story.
So basically, if we go back to the house, we'll be fine this time.
Well, the zeal would be.
We'll just stick really close to him. I'm
Do you
pretty
have
sure
to go
once we
back
got
there?
into their bubbles, it was fine.
Sorry, Windsor?
Joe?
Do you have to go back there?
I sure hope not.
We have not thought that far ahead. At the moment, all of our energies are focused on getting our friend back.
We're honestly gonna have to like sit and evaluate our goals once Lara's back, because man, this has been driving us for a while now.
Yeah, I think. Well, I was going to say joining forces with the third hand, or anybody that wants to get one over on the stupid archmage. Seems like a pretty good idea for me.
Maybe not anyone, but
I mean, that's true. The third hand hasn't actually done anything to help us yet, but the professor, I mean, he seems interested in fucking over the archmage, and he's actually been helpful. So,
as far as we know, the professor is stuck back being chased in the city, and personally, I hope he stays that way. Maybe we can find someone who's not affiliated with any of the schools or something. It's just like...
Well, personally, the professor has helped me and has helped our guest and friend Alexia. And if it comes to where we are able to help him, I would not be opposed to doing so. As he has clearly sent people to help us as well. But
Why don't you just ask the help of one of your gods that the professor wants to kill if, you know, he's going around saying he's going to kill gods?
is the professor killing gods? I thought this was the archmage that's killing gods.
Oh, sorry, Archmage. It's been a long day.
Is the professor telling you
Plot
he wants to
twist,
kill
Freudian
gods?
slip.
So is the professor telling you he wants to kill gods?
I'm done with my dragon bacon. Are you guys? Should we keep going?
Is this a yes?
Told you that.
Did you come with us to
Don't
learn how to
think we
kill the
should.
gods?
Got me.
What?
Just which gods to kill? What?
Mhm.
I'm just saying, I told you guys, this school cannot be trusted. Anyone affiliated with the school cannot be trusted.
No, Miss Alexia. Are you here trying to learn how to kill gods? Like, is that what the professor wants to do, is kill gods?
No offense. If I wanted to learn how to kill the gods, it probably wouldn't be with this present group. I would probably be hanging out with the person who has the weapons to kill gods, so...
Which we are currently on our way to see, in a way.
You're going to see him?
We
I
are
thought you were
going...
bringing back your friend.
Yes, and to do so we are going to the same place where this crazy archmage is. That has our friend's sword.
Right, but as we just established, like, a while ago, not that while ago, you guys are avoiding him. You don't want to
No.
be found by him.
We have the means to find him or to avoid him. Two of us do. Is what we established.
Avoid is the plan.
Avoid.
Avoid.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Avoid it.
I simply said that I had the means to find him or avoid him.
I don't want to turn into celestial sashimi. I really, really want to keep my physical integrity, and it seems like a really bad idea to try to affront him in any way at this point.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, I'm really all happy for, like, get in, get out. Like, get in, Lyra goes, woo, and then we all go, yay, and leave and go
We
somewhere
are
else.
all forgetting a really important part of this whole ordeal.
Which is...
What is Nestor going to ask of us? Because he's not going to do this for free.
He may. I don't know. We'll see.
This is true.
We'll
You're
figure it out when we get
sure
there.
that she'll come back?
I don't know.
I really didn't need one more worry in my life at this point, Winter.
There's no reason for her not to.
Yeah, I mean,
Had
she's
you
kind of the...
not considered that?
No, she's kind of the one. She's a person who just kind of rushes headlong into things, and so wherever she is, if like we open a door back into her body, she just rush right back in with no concern as to what might be waiting for her on this side.
Winter stands up and starts to pack up her things, and she says, "You don't think that she may have been changed at all by this?"
I guess we'll find out.
Nah.
I mean, she may, hopefully, but we'll find out. No,
Make
With
it
all
was
due
very good.
respect, Tempest, with all due respect, almost dying changes nothing. Dying changes everything.
just so it's possible.
I wasn't trying to speak from experience. I just really I really feel like Lyra, all of us, I feel like she'll be able to come back from dying and, she might be a little mad at her sword, but honestly, I feel like she'll be good to go. She seems very adaptable to me.
Well, see, well, that's the thing. Change is kind of at the core essence of her being.
Oh, because she's a changeling. Is that supposed to be a joke?
That's not a joke. I mean, it's a truth. Like, she changes herself and adapts to, like, as she meets people, she takes part of them
She adapts.
and she adapts.
That's why I think she'll be right.
So she might be changing. So yeah, she might change.
This is a bright and happy breakfast we're having.
Yeah, I mean,
Good morning, everyone.
Alexia apparently had a bad evening. She's very snarky this morning.
What did I do? I asked you a question. I'm sorry.
So no, it's okay.
That wasn't an actual apology. That was sarcasm.
Mom, Dad's picking fights with our neighbor again.
I'm sorry, who are you calling?
I don't know.
Your mother.
Speaking of,
If you were ever not the mother of this group, you were deluding yourself.
Oh, then this group's fucked. If I'm our mother,
Yeah.
then we have a very dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're only just realizing this. We're all dysfunctional.
So this
We're
brings-
not defiance, we're defunctional.
Oh no.
So Alexia, what is your goal, by the way? Like, we know what we are here to do, and we know Winter is interested in finding out the crossover problems, which is also on our way. What is your goal here?
Very interesting that you're so interested in what my goals are when we're here to revive your friend. No?
Yeah, we are here to revive our friend.
Yes. So what does it matter that I'm here for?
You're very defensive. Again, what is
Because
this?
you've
I
been
simply ask-
attacking me since we've gotten to the Feywild.
How the fuck have I been attacking you? You're coming out with all this
Don't want to start
snarkiness.
this. Okay, sure.
I simply asked what your goal was. We are trying, we know what Winter is wanting to do, and so we are making an effort to help her. We know what we are trying to do.
If we're gonna bicker, can we at least bicker on the move?
Why is this a bickering thing? I simply asked what your plan was. People.
Because I've told you my plan since the beginning. I'm here for the professor. And I thought I was being nice by helping you along the way to make sure your friend is okay. But no,
Yeah.
excuse me. I'll just focus on my mission for the professor then.
Which is... Okay. So let's go then. What's that?
You guys are heading out?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, I can speak. Can't breathe. You walk through the forest as it starts to thin and the flowers slowly start to change. The sky above you grows slightly darker, tinged with lilac. A sight which, yes, Winter, you decidedly discomforting. You have heard warning over and over again. Do not go to the purple sky. Yet here you are, in the very place that everyone in your warren warned you about.
As we've been traveling, just been trying to keep an eye out. Has there been an increase of or any change in the amount of things that might be displaced? Things from
Ooh,
other planes?
make a perception check.
I shall.
Ooh, not quite.
Nope. Dandelions.
All right. Anyone else doing anything as we go?
Keeping an eye out for that creepy maze again.
All right. You can make a perception check.
15?
So we're all thinking about the poppy field. She thinks about the maze. Now we're all at the maze. It's like the one who
No,
thought
I
about
mean-
the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Like, really?
Well, here's the question: would it be better for you all to go to the maze, or for just her to go to the maze?
I'm 100% like locked arms with Amnail again. Like, I don't want to go anywhere near this maze. The minute it crosses my mind, I'm like,
Yeah. You notice, Tempest, that some of the trees don't quite look right. They just don't seem to match the others around them. They seem more placid, less alive in some way. Small things like that. What was it? Excuse me while I search something that I definitely didn't mean to close.
Eyes started to change. We should be
Apparently.
more careful.
I think the trees are changing too. Is it just me, or do the trees look a little more like they would want Lyra to cut them down with nails glaive? They look kind of like they want a nap. They're just a little sad looking. They look a little overworked. Like morning commuters, not like Sunday tavern goers.
Where are they?
Like there and there. It seems like to be growing, honestly. Just the general creepiness.
Can I see them now that she's pointed them out?
Yes, once she points out particular trees, you start to notice it as well. The same thing that sparked your voyage out to these parts. Just the wrongness. These don't belong. One in particular kind of stands out. It's separated from the others. Seems to be in some state of rotting kind of death. And you see two yellow canaries flitting amongst the branches. That again, they just don't quite fit. with what things, with what animals should be here. Profound wrongness, displacement. That, yes, as you walk, seems to become more and more common.
So it's definitely increasing.
Definitely seems to be increasing in frequency the farther along you go.
Have we reached the poppy fields yet?
Not at this moment. There are poppies on the ground, like at about 50-50 with, with the dandelions at this point. But you're still very much in the forest right now.
Does this seem like the right way?
And now it matches with what things looked like as you were going.
Looks about right. I guess we should be a little more firm in our walk. Maybe we should be able to get there a little faster. As we were walking, I would have liked to try to pay closer attention to Alexia. What is she wearing? Does she carry any sort of items that look weird? Does she have any sort of like scrolls hanging around from her?
Make, suppose this would be a perception check.
16.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, first you see she's wearing underneath kind of a traveling cloak. The same uniform of the gray and black that the other students wore. She has several scrolls kind of tucked back in her things, which she told you at some point were, what were those? Detect magic?
It was.
need to pull
I only told him about the disguise self. I didn't tell him about the other one.
Disguise self. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, at least one of them is a disguise self. At least that's what she told you. Apart from that, I mean, you see several daggers, several swords, but nothing completely out of the ordinary.
Okay. I will subtly try to position myself between her and the group.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. She continued to walk along, hurrying your pace, and by simple happenstance, as would normally happen, or may normally happen constantly, who would ever know, as no one is ever looking enough to notice. You all just so happen to blink at the precise same moment. And when you all open your eyes again, you are in the midst of a field of white poppies. It seems to stretch endlessly in all directions. The forest behind you is but a speck. You suddenly feel as though you've been walking for hours. The city, indistinct silhouette, looms large above you on a small rise, seemingly just a short ways away.
Everyone ready?
Do the puppies here look kind of sad like the trees back there used to?
No. These all seem suffused nearly with a life of their own.
I take
Those
some.
around you all seemed to be turned open towards you. Yeah, pluck a few.
Can I take some of the puppies? Just like a handful.
Mhm. No problem.
Or do I remember any specific warnings over the years about approaching the city or anything like that?
Well, the city has not been here
Okay.
for very long. You can make a history check. You vaguely remember a children's nursery rhyme um, that I'm not clever enough to make up on the spot. Something about not, no matter how beguiling, never to fall asleep in a field of poppy.
Flying monkeys might appear.
What's that?
Flying monkeys might appear.
They may. Who's to say?
Are the poppies mature? Like, do they have seed pods, or are they just flowering, or what?
They appear to be in an early flowering state, so they have not developed any seedlings yet. Can't make opium.
Dude's always into components. Never know.
It's true. So we cast slow. Anyway.
That's Mind Sliver. Desiel just kind of tugs on the little gauntlet. Straightens himself. Doesn't say another word. Just keeps walking.
All right. Are you all following?
Yeah, follow along.
No. Desiel can go alone.
Split the party. That's how we do, yo.
Yep, that's how things have gone historically. Yeah, as you approach the edge of the poppies, it ends rather abruptly at the base of the hill. And the closer you get to the city, the more it seems indistinct, almost blurry. As you head into more trees, these with dark, deep green leaves. And you get to where the walls of the city should be, and you step into a dark fog. You have to blink several times as things kind of seem to shift in and out of focus. Where in one moment you're looking at a natural hill, a forested hill with several large rocks jutting from the ground. You feel the damp grass under your feet, especially you, Winter, as you are barefoot. And then in the next moment, you are standing on smooth cobblestone. As you see buildings and wisps of movement, people going about their day. These kind of blink back and forth repeatedly,
As we get.
never quite settling on one or the other.
So does this happen in one place, or like as we keep walking, it blinks back and forth?
As you get closer, you kind of step into the fog, and then it starts to happen.
Okay.
As you go in.
If it gets to the point where it's happening back and forth in one place, or like very close to each other, Desiel will stop and then just turn and look at Winter. This is what you seek, no?
Take a look around. What am I seeing exactly?
Are you
Like
seeing exactly?
Yeah. Like,
You are seeing. You are almost seeing two realities. In one, you are standing near the crest of a hill, looking out over the poppies in one direction and the forest in another. There are trees around you. You see birds flying, wind rustling through the leaves, long damp grass, and simultaneously a half-formed cityscape. There are roads and carts, vague shadows. One kind of passes through you, and you hear clear as day a man speaking, talking about what things they need to trade and places they need to stay, and it is gone. Just that snatch of sound. You are in a
Experience.
place not quite there.
um,
They,
she
they, they, they
starts.
kind of seem to oscillate, like looking through a chain link fence. How your eyes kind of want to focus to both.
She's looking around to see if there's something that stands out in both places. Like, it's overlaid, and you see it clearly in both places. She doesn't know, but
Okay,
she's
very good. Make a perception check. Just about.
Damn.
You kind of look around and you find several fixed points to kind of focus on for a few moments as things shift, focusing, unfocusing. And you catch in what are in the cityscape four um, four fountains in a small market square surrounding a small tower or spire. As they flicker, you see the shape of them becomes what is in the forest four stones about the same height, about rising maybe 10 feet off the ground and coming to points. Um, all four of them around a stone circle. And it's not perfect. There's a definite sense that they are reflecting one another. They stay consistent.
Do you see the fountains? Can you see them? The rocks.
Can we?
You can, once she points them out to you.
Experiencing this firsthand, Desiel assumed previously and said as much that he assumes the problem comes from the Archmage slicing a hole through reality and not from the sundial. Being this close and experiencing it firsthand, do I have reason to believe one way or another?
You can make an Arcana check.
13.
13's enough. It is as if This seems as though something were almost sagging through, like a weight on a wet piece of paper, as though these places are normally divided cleanly from one another, although they are parallel. Somehow, it is as if something has been weakened or ruptured or torn, and one is leaving an impression leading through onto the other. There would be no, you see no reason why taking an object from one realm to the other have this effect. Creatures went through, you went through several times. Ren has been bouncing back and forth between the material and the Feywild for potentially thousands of years. This seems as though something very recently has changed. Something has actively cut or scraped at the world.
Okay. So either the cult doing the thing the cult is trying to do, or this guy doing it bigger and better for them unintentionally.
Or both.
Or both. Okay. Sorry, Winter, you were about to ask something or say something. Oh, no, she showed it to us so we see it. Yeah, the fountains.
Right, yep.
Yeah. And these fountains are in both places that we see.
It is the same silhouette, the same shape that in the material plane is 4 fountains, in the Feywild is 4 stone monuments.
So these things, I mean, I know you do not trust Lim. As we've approached, I've been thinking on this. The closer we get to the individual who tore a hole in reality, like I saw him do this, the more this is happening, no? This is not happening close to the sundial. Like we walked away from the sundial to experience this. And so if you're looking for a reason and a cause, I mean, there are plenty enough people who'll be pissed off about the sundial, but I don't think it's what's causing the problems in your home. There are people who have been trying to weaken the barrier between the planes, and now there is a man who is just slicing holes in reality between the planes. And as we get closer to the ladder, the worse this seems to be. So unless Liam brought the magic item of which you speak here, I don't think one has anything to do with the other. I mean, you came to our world, and it did not cause problems.
I think you may be right.
Unfortunately, I don't know how to help fix things. I mean, we fought creatures from our world who were in your world accidentally, just before our arrest. Yesterday, if that means to you what it means to us.
We will have to ask him how to remedy this.
Him, the person who is causing the problems.
Yes.
I guess it's possible. If you're not attacking him, if you're not doing anything except trying to have a conversation with him, it may go okay. But this is the person who killed our friend, who stole her sword, and then proceeded to kill a noble in this area for no reason other than he could.
Yes.
He brags about being able to kill gods, so I don't know what he would do to a creature of the Feywild who's just trying to have a conversation with him. He may try to enslave you, he may try to kill you, he may try an experiment on you, because if I gather what he was doing experiments between the planes, and since you are from a different plane, he may try to do this on you. Many bad things could happen, but the one positive thing, he may actually be willing to have a conversation with you. But half a dozen bad things could happen. At least. Maybe Nestor will know. Come with us a little bit further till we find our friend, and maybe we'll have more ideas for you.
Seems a wise decision.
Okay.
Dungeon Master, do we have, besides the spire / stones, like the fountain / stones, do you have any other nearby place that seems like a place anyone in town would recognize? Like a distinctive place?
That specifically lines up in both, or just in general, like landmark?
In general.
Like, oh, we've heard of the shining ivory tower of Cormoranth where the council meets, or whatever. Right? Yeah.
Nothing that would be nearby. You guys are still pretty close to the outskirts. Farther in, yeah, like there are, the giant spires.
Second question: when we heard that merchant talking about like trade stuff he had to do, did he seem like he was aware that the town was phasing out of, like, is it just from our side that we can see the town, or are they aware that they might like no clip somewhere else?
There didn't seem to be any realization. It just
Fuck,
seemed
we were-
like a bit of conversation flitted between the barrier. Perhaps on the other side that was lost in some other noise. For some reason, whoever he was talking to didn't hear him.
Can I just fold one of my notch rods and float him a bit ahead of us and just keep an eye on him to see if at any point he looks like he's kind of fading? Like if there's any point that he crosses and he's like, oh, I'm in, material plane now.
Yeah, you can certainly do that. Hold up a little paper crane and have it gliding in front of you. What are you guys doing?
And continue to walk.
I think we should try to set a rendezvous point with Nestor. If we're gonna walk, we should have a destination. I mean, if this place has taught us anything, we shouldn't just walk around aimlessly.
Time to blow on your big tricks.
Yeah, pretty much.
We will walk into the city and try to find where the council meets, I guess, where he and his parents may be.
Could we contact
Or-
Nestor before we just start walking again?
Or if you can call him now, I suppose.
I mean, does anyone know about this place though? Like, geographically, if we're going to be looking for like a big landmark, we should probably know what the big landmarks are. And if we don't know that,
Yes,
then maybe it's better if Nesta tells us one.
May I try like a history check or something? See if I know anything about the city?
You all know the famous debate spire, where the archmages of the different schools meet. Beyond that, yeah, there's some pretty cool gardens. No.
Let's try to walk into it, guys.
Beyond that, there is a statue of Denier in front of the palace. That is pretty famous.
From
In terms of where you think.
yeah, so
What's
like
that?
I rolled a 14. I don't know. From what Nestor told Amnael, do I have any idea of where we should head?
the
If not,
debate spire, probably.
Probably near the debate spire is also contain rooms for the different schools or the different mages to stay. Like they usually stay there and work there when they are there. That would be most likely where they would be kind of confined to.
Would Alexia be able to confirm that with her time traveling with the circus and Nestor that of like any
Yeah.
of his history here? Okay, so if you
I mean, you know the
suggest
one
that,
place
Emil.
the one place in the city he never went, because like you guys would go all over in your travels in the circus. He would not go anywhere near either of the two major spires.
Okay, so knowing Nestor, the spires, the two main ones, are probably not the best.
So
Direction
to be clear, that is for familial reasons, because that is where he grew up and where he doesn't want to be when he's with the circus, because he says they would probably force him to stay there.
Okay.
and neither
Well,
of
So
these
he's
are
probably
the
in one of
debate
the two
spires.
spires.
Yes, one of the two larger in the picture. The spire on the left, the slightly shorter one.
I mean,
I don't think.
through.
Sorry, please, Alexia.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say we probably shouldn't try to take a rendezvous point that's so public. And besides, I have the terrible feeling that he's not going to be in this plane of existence.
Would there have been a place that the circus had performed in this city that I could tell him to meet us at? That's not.
Very good. Yes, there is a park. Sort of pretty nearby, actually.
Okay.
Just a short ways past this market square,
There's
where
a
you guys have
park
pitched your tent.
that we performed at a while ago. Maybe you can tell him to meet us there. He'll know the spot.
Do you remember the name of the park?
It doesn't really have a name, but it was pretty prominent in kind of that area. So he would definitely know. From saying the park we performed at, he would know.
He doesn't need to know a name. Just tell him where we performed. Or just.
That's 5 words, though.
Okay. The circus performance park.
That's 4. You're not solving my problem.
That's
Stoneside Park.
That's still 2 words, and I have a great 1 slot left. Okay.
You know, we could always walk into the city and try and find him if this is too taxing for you. I mean,
honestly,
we could locate him based on what he carries and show up where he is if you don't want to do this.
No, I do want to. I'm just trying to think of a reasonable way to do it. Okay. Stoneside Park. So let's move towards Stoneside Park. Because I feel like this message would be better delivered if we were nearby.
Towards the stones, in the direction of the park, and Amdale, you're the first to see in the trees. As clearly as you see the others, you see a small tent, like almost like a lean-to or a like one of the market stalls around you has kind of been jury-rigged in some way, and there's candlelight spilling from beneath the flaps.
So it's here.
So it is very clearly here as opposed to there.
I will approach.
All right. You hear someone muttering and kind of frustrated, someone speaking to themselves indistinctly from the inside.
I can't make out anything.
How close are you going to get?
Too close for my own good.
Okay. Yeah. You hear kind of an aged male voice. You speak Elvish, right? I'm sorry. I have to bring it up every time.
Can we just go to the primordial plane instead? Like, that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah,
I mean,
go
we
to the
do also
elemental, go to the elemental plane of air. That'll be great for everybody.
We could go to any of the elemental planes. I speak all dialects. Thank you very much.
Yes, you hear him in Elvish. I don't know why I believe that would work. Of course, there would be nothing here. Nothing but those damn shadows.
I reach a hand, like trying to signal everyone to just stop. Can I make out any details of the inside of this place?
Were you going to like peek through some gaps?
No, if like from my position, can I see anything?
Not really. As the canvas kind of blows around, you see maybe like a bedroll kind of situation. Not really, unless you were to look in, because there's no like window or proper door. Like it's just canvas folded over canvas.
I'll attempt to look in a discreet manner.
Okay, make a stealth check. Okay. As you kind of kneel down nearby one of the corners where you can see kind of a tear in the fabric, a wedge. You look through and you see a man in kind of burnt orange wizard's robes, sitting cross-legged on the ground, bedroll kind of bunched up to one side, several candles around the room lighting it, a lantern in front of him over a small, smooth kind of river rock. He's muttering over it. You see he has a very long, unkempt beard that kind of sticks out at random places. He looks very haggard. His eyes are kind of sunken and hollow. You can't see much else over the bulky robes. You see he finishes whatever ritual it is he's doing, and you see the stone kind of glow slightly. And then he looks up and makes eye contact with you, and his eyes widen. Huh? What is Amiel doing?
Well, he made eye contact with me, so I'm not gonna pretend like I'm trying to hide. I'm just gonna be, hello, sir. Are you all right?
Ooh. Oh. Have you been taken too? Please,
No.
come in.
Well, I have company. I have a few friends.
Oh, yes. And he kind of quickly, stands up, kind of, a little too quickly, and you see he puts his weight on his left leg, and it buckles for a second. He winces and then limps out from, out of the tent. And he reaches, he goes up and goes to hug you.
Press X to doubt. Um. Huh. I Is he just like hugging, or is he like hugging like?
Yeah,
No,
like
he's not doing any. He's not doing any hand signs or anything. His hands kind of clench and unclench. Um, it has been so long since I've seen another face.
I will hug him back, and once I do, I will cast Detect Magic.
What are the rest of us
Okay.
seeing?
So you're hugging
Yeah.
him, chanting.
Yeah, the rest of you see this. Definitely do see this. Surprisingly, you don't see much. The stone that he kind of tucked into a pocket of his robes, you see glowing with transmutation. But nothing else on him does.
Nothing around me.
Nope. I mean, other than the air kind of seems to have a blue tint, but that is natural for the Feywild. As you remember last time, there were kind of these swirls of color that would sweep through when you cast Detect Magic. Like you see that, kind of more intense given where you are. But no, nothing in the tent, nothing on him apart from the stone.
I pull away. My sir, what's your name? How long have you been here?
Loran, I am Mage Loran. I do not know. I believe I am in the Feywild. Somehow. I was. It feels as though it has been ages. I have not eaten. I have barely slept.
Well,
I thought myself
okay.
lost.
Well, well, yes, you are on the Feywild. Sort of. Are you an inhabitant of Corborinth?
At the moment, yes, I, 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 I traveled here from my school, from Perial, as part of the debates, and I was in the tower that tower there, merely practicing, experimenting, and I I fell. I was there, and then I wasn't, and I fell through the air and landed and hurt myself. None of my things are here. My spell book, my materials. So very little.
I'll use my healing hands on him. Mend his leg pain.
Go ahead and roll that. Or no, that's not a roll thing. That's just a number, right?
Yeah, it's
How
6.
much does he get back? Okay, 6. You see him wince and ease somewhat, although not enough to really put his weight on it. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
It should anesthetize for a bit. Might help you to think a little more clearly. You're
Have you
from
any food?
uh, yes, and I will instinctively kind of turn to Desiel and then think, dragon bacon probably not a good fasting ender. So I'll turn back to Winter and I'll ask if, uh, Winter, do you have any more of those seeds?
Are you going back to the group? You're kind of still a ways away, I assume.
I thought he had motioned to us and we were on our way to him.
Okay, if you're moving up, then yes.
Yeah, because I said we had a group. Like I put my hand out
Gotcha.
more,
Yep.
like no noise, not no movement, and I announced that there were more of us so that people could walk up.
All right. As you get up, we're actually going to take a break for a few minutes. We ran a little bit over where we kind of generally wanted to, but that's all right. See you back here in about 10, 15 minutes.
See you shortly.
Stick around. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. As the rest of you cluster around the old haggard wizard who has just asked for something to eat.
Oh, yes, here I am, Neil. Give him some of this. She hands you more rations.
I hand him the rations.
Yeah, he takes the dry bread and just tears into it. Oh. Oh. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I am in your debt. You have saved my life.
Well, I wouldn't be so quick to be so thankful. But what? How are you here? You said you were in the tower. What happened?
Yes, I was spelling some simple spells to begin some experiments in transmutation, and as I cast the spell, everything disappeared. It was as if it looked much as it does now, flickering and strange. I was suddenly in the air, standing on mist, which, of course, I quickly fell through and landed unceremoniously, rather inhibiting my leg.
Can I insight to see if he's telling the truth?
You can.
It's just Lim fucking with us.
It's just a
Those are
dream,
flowers.
actually. Amnil wakes up, and it was all not this dream. It was the first dream he had back at level 3. We're way back in Andriel right now. A 21. Yeah, you see like deep bags under his eyes, and you can see quite clearly, his bloodshot eyes. He's exhausted. He's maybe glossing over simple research. Like he's not dwelling on that. But apart from that, he doesn't seem to have the energy to really think about what he's saying much. Like things are just kind of spilling out.
Why didn't you just... We can still see the city from where we're standing, right?
In the kind of shifting, bizarre way that you have been, yes.
Have you not tried to walk towards the city?
We're I've tried everything. We're in the city now. And yet we aren't. I tried. As far as I have been able to walk, which is not far. I have not had access to any healing of much sort apart from what my body is naturally capable of. It,
He
I
came.
there is very little I can do without access to my spellbook and to my material components.
There's a tent. He came out of a tent, right?
Hmm?
Is it like a big tent? Like it would take strength to build it?
No, not so
Okay.
much at all. It's leaned up against it. Like there's one kind of post leaned up against a tree,
Okay.
and then he's draped, a kind of larger cloth over that, and then hammered it in at either side, make a lean-to essentially that is up against a tree. Like it's very ramshackle.
Could you lead us to where you initially fell through?
Yes, just this way. He leads you up towards the fountains and the spire, uh, to where the tower, in the center of this square is. Just here. Up there, several floors up.
And would you mind disclosing what ritual were you preparing that caused you to shift?
It's the simplest of transmutation. It wasn't anything special.
Can I see like the base of the spire?
Yeah,
Can I walk up to it?
you certainly can.
Can I attempt to touch it?
Can. And your hand passes through it. Cold mist.
Not as if it were illusion.
Right. As you touch it, it kind of seems to warp around your hand, like phasing into fizzing static, around where you're touching it, and kind of reforms as your hand moves back.
Well, that is slightly annoying. That undoes a little bit of what I had in mind. Does the cliff face, and at this point I literally just walked away from the group just looking at this thing. Does the cliff face look like there is a point where if we got up the cliff enough, I could get to the height of the spire?
Um, Not nearby. Like it doesn't, the ground doesn't go up like directly to it. It's kind of still in an open space because like you're kind of near the top of the hill. Like there are several points where it, like extends out in cliff faces, but you're pretty near the top.
So we could only go downhill from
Basically, there's a short ways up you
here.
could continue to go, and then it kind of levels out.
What happens if we try casting transmutation magic? Maybe we'll suddenly start falling through the air too.
That was my that was my idea, trying to get as close as we could to the top of that spire, and then I could cast something and see if it would warp us through.
I mean, you don't have to be the only one who casts something. If it's transmutation magic, both Desi and I would have it too.
Yeah, I have something as well.
Yeah, it's because my thing would particularly help me with moving through the cliff or the walls if that was the case. But
I don't know if like getting up there and strategically falling from the tower is like our best choice though, right?
Well, my idea wasn't that. My idea was to get as close as we could, cast something, and see if it would poof us through.
He said he fell from the top of this tower?
Not quite the top. I was about halfway.
And your only injury was your ankle?
Broken leg?
Broken leg? Does
He
that
he
injury
pull, he
match
kind of
up?
pulls up. He kind of pulls up his ripped pant leg, where you see just like a piece of like broken wood on either side, and it's kind of in that. Um, the area around his shin is very much purple and black. Like it's receding slightly after what Emnail did, but it is still a nasty unhealed wound.
Looking at the current situation, is there any way that I can try to think to get closer to where he indicated he was?
Meditate?
I mean, if any of us was gonna
Frozen for
fall from the
everybody else.
tower, yeah. If any of us was gonna fall from the tower, then I mean, I'm probably the one to do it. You know. And I'm pretty sure levitate's transmutation too.
I don't have any magic, but I have rope.
If it's just the two of us, I should be able to levitate both of us. Me finally working out how pounds work.
Make somebody jump really, really high.
Oh, I can
don't
do
know.
That high?
Yeah, I can triple anyone's jump.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
I can only cast Daziel's favorite spell. The most powerful spell in all of Endril. And I just start
Thaumaturgy.
making little puffs of lightning and colors and sounds and earthquakes.
What can you guys do that's transmutation? Elixir and Daciel.
I mean, I am doing it.
Jump is actually transmutation. I studied that one, and I can also do, and I will copy Amniel and do like little sparks and like a little trumpet sound or something.
I know a number of things from the School of Transmutation. Why is it that we are trying to do transmutation again? Forgive me, I zoned out for a bit.
I mean, that's why this whoever he is came through. He said he was casting a transmutation ritual. Maybe it doesn't have to be transmutation at all, but that does kind of seem like the kind of magic that would like shift you to another plane. I don't know. What else would it be?
Cough, cough, conjuration, cough, cough.
Well, I can do very simple conjuration, transmutation, evocation, several things. Enchantments, illusions with no expenditure of energy almost. Where I can do several of these things, including transmutations, with expenditures of various levels of energy. You know, like when I joined our friend Winter here, appearing like one of her people. When I create the larger version of Eddie to help me contain enemies, do things such as this. When I slow the passage of time down for, like I did with the Red Dragons, that is a transmutation. But
I mean,
maybe we should start with the less
yeah. I mean, do we want to
demanding
investigate
one.
up there first?
So I pull out a short piece of copper wire. I kind of hold it in my hands, and I look at the old man, and I whisper ever so softly, "Who are you really?" And I cast Message, which is a transmutation cantrip.
Yep. Roll me a d20, please.
Oi, oi, oi.
Okay. You hear his response back. Archmage Loren of Perial.
Well, that did nothing. Should I continue to do this, or should I increase the amperage, so to speak?
Let's all try. Let's see. Let's try.
Should we be like walking and trying? Like just staying in a present spot and transmutating is enough, or
My
I think
question
we should
is,
try
like,
to be-
are we done with like linking this to like him falling from the tower? Because I can get both out of the way by like going up to look, which is levitate, second level as well.
Well, let's see if we can do it without expending too much of ourselves for the day, but that's not a terrible idea. I will get again as close as I can to the wall, maybe even into it, as if like I went into the tower had I been on the prime material plane. And I will attempt to cast taumaturgy. I'll create a window, just like a cool odor and smell of mint in the air.
Roll a d20. Yep, you smell it. Wafting gently through the air.
Yep, nope. Unless anyone wants to try, I think we go with Tempest's plan.
I want to try one thing before we send you up there. I want to prestidigitate a keyhole on the tower. And then I want to turn to Amiel because I know he can cast it now. Can you maybe make a key for that? And I just want to see what would happen.
A what, sorry?
A key
A key.
to unlock. I don't know, it's the Feywild. Weird things happen here, right?
This is my understanding.
No,
What
okay,
he
but-
does not create little objects like when you press the digitation things. Or I don't know, I haven't seen you ever create something with it. Can you create things with it?
Not necessarily. If I will focus on the door and attempt to open it, but it'll only open if it's already unlocked. Like it won't open a locked door.
You're going to try and thaumaturgy a door.
Yes.
Wait, I can have 3 of these. Never mind. So I'm
Do you
just
want-
gonna.
Wait, I can quickly make a door if we want a door.
Yeah, I'm thinking we make a door with a lock and key, or even just a doorknob and open it.
I'm just gonna paint like a really rudimentary door on the side of it and see if it works.
On the side of
Okay.
what?
The tower.
The
It's
tower is
not-
ethereal.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Not
can't touch it.
Physically, you can touch it and you kind of feel a misty, staticky sensation. Like there's
Is there
something
anything-
there, but it's not like a solid object.
Okay.
I'll still try to taumaturgy the door though. Like I'll see
Okay.
if there's a door or a window, and I'm gonna try to taumaturgy it.
Okay, so you get to about where the door would be. Roll a d20.
Oh, can I minor illusion a door shape there?
Yes, you can. Roll
I'll do
two
that.
d20 if you're going to If she's doing that, roll 2d20. Or sorry, 2d20s. 14 and one more.
The 14 was mine.
Right. Both of you, or you roll for both.
Oh, I rolled 2d20. Okay, I thought Cat.
Yes, roll 2d20. 2d20s.
I mean, it's a 20 total.
You're not adding them. Nothing happens.
Okay, I still want to try prestidigitation, so I want to do a lock and then a key and just put the key in the lock and turn it. Just see what happens.
Okay. And what spell school is prestidigitation?
Transmutation.
Transmutation.
Yep.
Roll a d20. Yep, the image of the key hole and the image of the key, and then it fades.
Can I leave your keyhole up? Can I try making a paper key and breath of lifing it? Because that's also transmutation. See if I can get it to turn itself in the keyhole.
It is. I actually meant to ask this earlier. For the last breath of life, roll a d20 as you cast that spell.
Tempest is gone for like 10 minutes.
I'm good.
You don't know that. Yeah, you can make a paper key. You can make it go through the keyhole. Nothing happens.
No, but like with the casting of the spell, like this time as well. Still nothing?
Yeah, that happens. The spell happens.
Interesting. Maybe it's like once per spell or something. Should I try floating?
Is there any amount of like not dirt but stone, physical stone anywhere near where I am currently?
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind giving me about we could try to do this in about 50 minutes. It would take a long ass time, but it might help us.
I mean, what are you casting? If it's transmutation, maybe we don't need the whole time. He said he was falling as he was trying to set up the ritual, right?
Yes, but it's something that requires quite a lot of my strength. But if we do take the time, I can cast on all of us. And it is quite a potent transmutation spell.
Up to you.
Absolutely, by all means.
Do you have a... It's about as strong as your cube times slowy thingy, Desiel.
If you're willing to like expend that energy, then yes. I mean, it could be useful if it's for all of us.
So I will. This doesn't have a range of self. It has a range of touch. So I can touch any creature. I can cast it on other people. So I'm going to spend the next 50 minutes ritually casting 5 times, actually 6 times, because I gotta get the old dude too. Meld into stone, a 3rd level transmutation spell.
Oh.
Is that not concentration?
No, it's just a ritual.
It
lasts
step
for 8 hours.
It does have a range of touch. That's okay. You step into a stone object or surface large enough to fully contain your body. This is not something you could put onto someone else. The touch is for the stone, not for the creature. You cast meld into stone on the stone that you then pass into.
Fair enough. I'll still try it on myself, though.
Okay, you can
But
definitely do that. You can ritual cast.
Yeah, I'm about to cast a thing that might make me disappear into the rock thing, or it might shift me over. If if I fall into the rock, I'll just come back out. If I don't come back out, then I probably
Died.
got cold. Died, yes, died.
While he is casting that ritually, Drew, when I look at 5 different rings of different metals, plus the ring that I stole from Ermos, and his rapier, and 4 daggers that were concealed in various places, is any of it magical?
Any of it magic?
Yeah, the ring that I stole from him, or any of the other 5 rings that I looted from him, or his rapier, or any of the 4 daggers from concealed various places.
Are you detect magicking? What means are you using
Detect
to
magic.
determine that?
Detect magic.
Detect magic. Okay, one moment. Let me. One of the rings glows of transmutation.
I will begin to, and that's the only of all the stuff. Is it the one that I stole, or one of the ones that I looted from him after he?
It is one of the ones you looted from him.
And that's of everything. That's the only magic item.
Yep.
All right. I will put the other stuff back in the bag, and I will sit down, look over at Amnail, whose detect magic was. I don't know.
Oh, shamalama,
Yeah, it was like 6 seconds. And I will sit down and I will begin ritually casting Identify. And since there is stone, I'll be using chalk and my wand and the string to draw my circles and runes and whatnot.
Everyone's sitting down. I'm gonna sit down too. Guess we're resting now.
Alright.
I'm actually, she's going to stay standing and just kind of walk around, keep an eye out. Like, this is unfriendly territory, so she's gonna.
Alexia will kind of follow your lead, Winter, since you're kind of a local here, and just be on guard with you.
I want to specifically keep an eye on the old guy. I don't trust him.
Okay. He basically this whole time has just been eating. Like very ravenously, just
I'll pull out another ration for him as I eye him suspiciously.
he's clearly very grateful. I know
As I
time
quietly poison it.
Yes, of course. I know time doesn't work the same way here. Oh, but it may as well have been years. That I was without food. I cannot thank all of you enough. As Winter and Alexia can make perception checks.
As there's 3 dragons, 2 beholders, a lich. Oh my god!
Oh, come on! That is
no.
ridiculous!
What is this garbage? Oh.
Oh my gosh!
So we're never letting them take the same watch ever again.
Oh, that's two natural 1 perception checks for Winter. My god.
I guess we're braiding each other's hair. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here.
This is the wrong campaign for perception checks. You guys are stealing everything for Thursdays. Goodness.
Yeah.
I think I'm more focused on the fact that that old man has said he hasn't eaten in years, and that's kind of plaguing my mind of like, he looks human, right?
He's elven.
Oh, he's elven. Still,
Ooh, that could be a lot of years.
It's the Feywild. Could be any number of years. Or no years. Yeah. You guys peer out into the shifting dark, and it's basically impossible to focus on anything that's stationary. let alone movement or trying to pick something out that's following you. You try very much in vain, your eyes kind of straining and unfocusing and blurring. It's very unsettling. As the two casters finish their spells, Desiel, you find that is a ring of jumping, which allows you to cast the jump spell as a bonus action. At will, actually.
Wow, Alexia is jealous.
Pretty useful spell for a thief. And Amnael, you finish up with Melted to Stone. Are you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm there, and in the next moment, I start to just sort of melt into almost like a puddle, and then I'm into the rock.
Roll a d20. As the rest of you see Amnael drawn in, melding with the rock. Okay. So Amnael, you are within stone.
Cool.
Let's
This
see
is
or
my
hear
life
anything
now.
around you. The
Yeah,
rest of
I can't
you cannot
move.
see Amnael.
Yeah, no.
I know you warned us this is gonna happen, but it's still really weird to watch.
After
What
like
just happened?
10 seconds. I was just gonna say, after 10 seconds of nothing happening, I'm just gonna go out of the stone.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing as Amnael does not emerge from the stone?
Break it.
Continuing to try to
I cast
make sure
message.
nothing's coming at us.
Sorry.
Okay. You cast message to whom?
Amnael. I'm curious if he can respond while he's in the stone.
The spell fails.
Really?
He's not within 120 feet of you.
I'm gonna turn to the old archmage and be like, yeah, this is a transmutation spell. Have you seen this before? What just happened?
What do you mean? He's melded into stone.
I'm gonna stare like super
Be
duper
there
deeply
nearly
into
a-
his eyes and subtle
Be there for
spell
hours.
detect thoughts. What's he thinking?
Ooh.
Nice!
Right now he's thinking,
Yes.
surface thoughts. What are you worried about? Melded to stone. He could be there for ages.
Do you have detect thoughts from being Oh no, you have the spell, right?
Why did Tempest suddenly freak out? What happened?
Because Amnael is just melted into stone?
Yeah.
Is this not weird? He's not coming out. He said he'd be out.
So after 10 seconds he doesn't reappear?
Second, he
I
did
mean,
not reappear.
I'm trying to get out.
Oh yeah, you're out of the stone. We'll
Where?
get to that. You guys are on different time scales now.
Oh, what if this
Things
old
are not
wizard is
happening
like-
concurrently anymore. Because Amnael, after 10 seconds, you release from the stone, and the first thing that you perceive is the sound of a market square. As you look in front of you at the tower, fully formed, fully solid. You see no evidence of a forest underneath. All the buildings look solid and real. It's near sunset. There are very few people about. as vendors close up their shops. And you are on, presumably, the prime material plane.
Fuck. 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 Fuck.
So after, and so I can just tell that the spell just fails.
Message does not connect.
Okay. Desiel stops and he thinks for a little bit. And he looks down at his materials and he puts most of it away and he leaves the wand out. And he pulls out a little drop of molasses and puts it right on the tip of the wand. And then throws 5 fingers out and a line goes to each Tempest, Winter, Alexia, himself, and the wizard. And he casts Slow onto all of us, which is a 3rd level transmutation spell.
Roll a d20. Everything around you slows. The 5 of you watch as the speeds up, not slow. You slow. Everything around you seems to speed up. The flickering back and forth, the focusing faster and faster and faster and faster. And then the city starts to become more prominent. The forest fading away. And Amnel, as you step out and look around, flickering into existence, kind of blinking in and out rapidly and then staying longer and longer each time, are the 5 people whom you left back in the Feywild.
Actually, there was a 6th strand and it went to Desiel's shoulder.
Of course. And you all are in the city.
As soon as they materialize, I just run up and hug Desiel. I'm like, fuck. Thought I had lost you guys.
We thought the ground ate you, so
Desiel
you said
turns
10 seconds, you don't come out.
very slowly and then just kind of wraps an arm around you very slowly. And pulls
You
you
cast inflict wounds very slowly.
And while holding on to Amnel, I drop concentration on Slow. Are all 6 of us still in this same place?
Roll me one more d20, please.
Oh no, if you go back.
That's why I hugged you very slowly.
11? Yep, you all stay.
Yeah.
That wasn't even for you. That was just for the wizard. It was just for Loran.
What did he
He was the
just
only one.
cast?
What?
Did he cast anything?
No. Don't worry about it.
Well, not because you said that, but I'm actually going to turn to him and ask. So we're here in sorts of official business. Would you happen to know where Mr. Nestor is?
Nestor?
The son of Mr. and Mrs. Blah.
Neristolf? Prince Neristolf?
Yes,
the circus.
him.
Prince.
I do not know how much time has elapsed. How could I know such a thing? It
Is
may
it,
have been
was
years
it,
since we left.
No, Joe. Clearly, I mean, this is not your specialty, no? At the moment, time is working differently in the Feywild. However much time you spent there has likely been a very short amount of time here.
How could you possibly have predicted that?
Because time is sort of what I
It
do.
is random. Are you a
Perhaps.
chronologist?
I've been called worse.
Are there people walking around us?
Very few. And then you are in Wizard City. It's not the most unnatural thing to ever happen. People
Shit.
Well, I just
teleport in and out.
I wanted to walk over to one of them and just like, excuse me, the date today has escaped me. Could you tell me the date?
And he tells you, and it is the same day as when you had left.
I'll walk over to the group
Or
and
no,
tell them
sorry,
that.
the next day, excuse me. The next day. It was night when you left previously, that's right.
Only been a day.
There you go. It's only been a day. I don't know how long you were here, but it's been some time for us, and it's, I mean, less than 24 hours here, because it was nighttime when we left, and now apparently it is, what, morning of the next day? Yes, good sir. I am a student of the manipulation and use of the time energies.
Find yourself in?
oh,
You didn't hear anything you just said.
Whom?
You, Drew, like
You.
you were silent.
Oh, apologies. Rare to find one of those. You've picked a rather lonely path of study. Never was quite for me, but I shall defer to your judgment.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I suppose there are not too many. But being as it is, what day did you say? Well, if it's the next day, then it is. I guess we tell him the date. I don't know when it was that this happened to you.
Less than 3 days ago.
Well, there you go.
How wonderful.
makes sense why you didn't starve to death.
Yes, quite. Although it's hard to judge how things transpire in the Feywild.
Especially when you don't have a habit of sleeping every so often to help you keep track of the days.
I don't know if anyone would have been able to sleep there. The shifting and the noises,
Oh no, I mean I
the
slept quite well.
shadows which followed me.
The shadows followed you.
Yes, I don't know what if it was merely delusions from the hunger, but it felt as if humanoid shapes were watching me, waiting
Did any of them have a blue hat?
to strike out. I'm sorry?
Was any of them wearing a blue hat, by any chance?
No.
Okay, just wondering. I had my own visions while I was in the Feywild. Regardless. Oh, speaking of the Feywild, forgive me, Miss Winter. I did not ask if you wanted to come to our plane. I just dragged you along with us.
Yes, you did.
Welcome back to our home plane. So
Will we be going back soon?
I imagine we'll go back at some time. But again, more evidence that the casting of certain magics are responsible for weakening or transcending the boundaries between our two worlds, our two planes.
This is quite
Mr.
strange.
Loren.
I should, of course, I must study. I find whether this has been happening all across the city. This, if it were as common as our transference back here, then certainly it may just be disappearing left and right.
What
Ratios
what was
must be-
happening? What was happening around town by the time you flipped over there?
I left. Very little. There were, of course, we were meeting to discuss planar disturbances, but the representatives from Ascari had just arrived. There was talk of strange delays with the Yolful delegation. Nothing specific.
So they hadn't arrived yet.
Not as far as I was aware. I was, of course, in my study, not to be disturbed.
That's fair enough. Look, usually I'm not one to ask for these sorts of things, but we did help you out of quite the pickle, so maybe you can help us.
I shall endeavor to do all I can. I'll
My
save
dear
my
friend
life.
over here. My dear friend over here is quite the studious man of the arcane arts. Perhaps some of your knowledge might be shared with him. That might behoove you in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you, Jess.
Naturally, I can hardly turn away one with such good technique.
Thank you, good sir.
It was millimeter perfect, those ritual circles.
Much appreciated. You do me honor.
So, should we take a little detour to Mr. Loren's tower really quickly?
If we are invited.
Of course, I don't know what we'll find up there, but yes, let us go. As he steps up and opens the door of the tower.
You go
and
face
you all
first,
in.
Parlin.
And you're all back in the well, no.
Well, this dude disappeared, and then Parlin showed up, so we kind of gave him his accommodation.
So as we're walking back, I was actually about to ask him. So, Archmage, are you familiar with? Do you have any particular relationship with Archmage Parlin, by any chance?
Parland, Andreas Parland of Yalful?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, I know the rascal, yes. Loose cannon, never much cared for. Procedure, guidelines,
yes.
doing things the proper way,
Well, just to
making
warn,
sure his experiments were safe before he conducted them.
well, just to warn you, I don't know how much you have studied compared to him, but apparently he is now more powerful than ever, and recently just killed the noble for the shit of it here in this city. So I would not suggest getting on his bad side unless you are certain you can overcome his powers.
Oh. Well, thank you for the warning. Where would he have gotten such power?
An artifact, a sword that can cut holes in the very fabric of reality. And supposedly kill deities.
I am not aware that the Council of Archmages has allowed an expedition searching for artifacts lately.
Well, as you say,
This is.
he does not abide by the rules.
Oh, yes, indeed. But violating expeditionary procedure, especially if he went into the library, is unconscionable.
Well, he murdered a friend of ours and stole this artifact. So,
Oh, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Your friend. Could you tell me about this artifact?
Drew, I've got detect thoughts up still, I think. How long does it
How long
last?
does it last?
Ah, no, never mind. I thought it was 10 minutes. It's not.
Yeah.
he didn't. Provost didn't actually tell me a name of the sword, did he?
He did. It was.
Anguished Ruin.
Yes.
Do you know anything of the Anguished Ruin? If not, I imagine a skilled individual like yourself could easily find out with just its name anything much more than I could tell you on this.
Indeed. Inside, there are things. There are study to be done.
Yes. Well, we are actually trying to meet with somebody that might be able to save our friend. So if we can make sure that everything is okay with your place, and if you did have something to share, like my friend Anael said, we should not stay too long.
Can he save your friend?
No. No matter how much I study, I will never be able to do such things.
Indeed. This way. I believe I have some spell scrolls laying around here. And he leads you upstairs if you'll follow.
Absolutely. It's very much appreciated, sir.
In another part of the city, as we slide away as the tower door closes and Loran begins searching through books and scrolls. In another tower, a spire of another tower tucked away. In an isolated room, Omen. You feel the wash of emotion, an overwhelming sensation. If the colors and light of this world are sweet, then this is saccharine and sickening. A hand touches the door handle. You see frost build on the doorknob. Your shadow curls and pools at your feet. The door opens, and out steps a man in blue robes, with a tall blue hat. You see black smoke curling off of his right shoulder as Andreas Parlin steps into the room. Hello, Omen. Pleasure to see you this morning.
Oh, is it light out now?
Oh, very nearly, very, very nearly. I have something to show you.
Oh, usually you do not go beyond the cell. Usually you talk behind.
I feel much safer now. draws back his robe, and you see in a sheath at his belt the black hilt of a sword. Smoke curls from it. You feel a pulse of a mass of emotion, positive, negative, hatred, and love just spilling out. Do you recognize this? It looks, and he draws out the black sword, split halfway down the blade, coming to a jagged series of points. It looks quite a bit like something your kind would have produced, no? I think you'll agree it is quite well made. And yet, this is no weapon of the Shadok-Ai. No, no. In many ways, it is quite the opposite. Designed to destroy everything you are and everything your queen represents. I have no time to ask any questions today. Merely to tell you that more are coming, and your time runs thin. Do you understand?
He'll take a step back. I see. And that's where we're going to wrap things up for this evening. If you want to see where all of this goes, you can check us out next week. Same time, same place. Check us out Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern Time for Call of Cthulhu. Thanks to Syrinscape for the use of their wonderful sound library, etc., etc. Animated dungeon maps on Patreon. I don't know that I actually mentioned that at the start. Animated dungeon maps on Patreon for some of the animated battle maps that we use on occasion. None of those tonight. But we saw one last week with dragons, and then several through the channel, which you can go see over on YouTube. Come join us in the Discord. Again, you can put that all in the Twitch chat before we go away. I think it's like !Discord or something. Or there it is. Perfect. Check us out there. And be sure to come back. We are clearly not done with this. Toodaloo. See you next week. Thank you for joining us. Good night.